come straight to No, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening.
By the time I found out from the data intelligence department, they gave me all the or 5 million will come in today, 10 million will go tomorrow, 10 that talks about when it's on the side of the army,
Now, for now, I don't know.
You have to deduct a percentage, you have to deduct more. Before you can levy a district, you can only do that with a warrant signed by the judicial officer. But thank God for the new law, the chairman, the EP, they now have the power to sign a warrant of district. The only time they are restricted from signing a warrant of district is when it has to do with immovable property. Because that one you need the judicial officer, that's the high court judge, to sign such warrant. Also, to clarify something on district, meaning of district. If we look at the word district, sometimes we tend to misinterpret it to mean the power to sell. There are two different things. The power to sell is different from the power to levy district. The power to sell remains within the jurisdiction of the judge, the judicial officer. I'll keep using the judicial officer because the term judicial officer was not defined in any of those laws. And I think it was a deliberate attempt by the drafters to bring magistrates within the meaning of judicial officers. Because some of these things, except other law, is saying that thing will be done by high court judge. If there's no other law requiring mandating that particular action or enforcement you want to take to be done by high court judge, then what they are trying to do is to allow the meeting to accommodate magistrates. I just said that's by the way. Going back to the difference between district and the power to sell. When you say district, what district is saying is that go into the premises after you have complied with all the conditions precedent and take items, goods that will be enough to satisfy the liability of that taxpayer. And I want us to understand the implication of learning your history without killing the business or stopping it. That is the idea behind this. But when you still have, you see some people say, oh, that's where we make the money. They keep the place for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They couldn't open it because they couldn't pay. The service should be careful of running into liabilities on the ground of it. Someone can sue for loss of profits for those period of time, particularly when court order is also obtained before fulfilling such premises. But the thing is, you cannot escape the tax administrator. So even if you sue for loss of profit, you are still exposing yourself that you're actually making more profit. So your personal income tax will still go up. So that's just my view. So please, I need to emphasize this. We need the service needs to set out modalities for levying district. Go to the premises. Now we have a provision here that we might still consider special purpose tax officer. And the law says they will have the power of police officers. I think what they're also trying to do is, this reliance on police to levy district or to carry out enforcement. I believe the drafters of the law, they are trying to move away from that era, where within the service, you can now have a unit where your officer, those special purpose tax officers, it will get to a stage they will have the power to even use to carry out. Because when you interpret that provision saying they shall have the power of police officers, it is wide. And I know, or let me say, I of the opinion that NRS within the next 1 year, we have that unit and they'll be carrying out. And I have that belief that they particularly put it so that if you look at some countries, they don't need police. Within the NRS, they are the one that will come. Their uniforms are different. They don't wear the normal most people wear to office. They have their own uniform. So they are like as good as police. So service needs to take advantage of that and push further through the KRB. I know they can push further to ensure that you get the IG clearance or whoever to start applying and approving trained special postal officers for carrying with the power to carry out. So, as I was saying about the modalities for levying district. Question. Okay. Taxes to levy that's supposed to, right? What I understand as all right, so the question I was asking is about the need to carry firearms, right? I understand that the majority of the people do not understand the need to pay taxes, right? So if we are tax people, why do we need to carry arms? Because we are trying to make sure that they are comfortable to pay us. Carrying arms automatically shows them that you are trying to force them to do it. When we are actually supposed to justify them, massage their ego, and ensure that they pay us. Technically, this is Nigeria. Seeing a police officer on the road scares majority of the people when they don't even do anything, right? So now taxation again, carrying out. I mean, I'm just thinking about it. If there's a need or why you thought about it like that, maybe you can shed more light. Okay, let me tax taxation is a levy that's imposed. How do you want to? I'm sorry. Let me answer this. So let me answer this. Sorry. Hello. What else, please? What else, please? Again, we understand that it's a levy that is imposed, which means that it is your statutory obligation that you must pay, right? Now, I think it was easy. I was saying it was not. I think it was last night that there are some things that with the cost of the way things are in this part of the country. You understand? So, say firearms alone, traumatize some people. That's what I'm thinking. Now, there is law, right? And there is the way we do things so that things are done, right? So, if you say that you are crying for the IRS, they are already saying that don't kill them. Now, I'll start with the position of. You said something.
Okay, sorry. I think that I was doing that point there. If you ever involve yourself in a person, no one is going to carry. They will beat you, pay, and you. Let me tell you, there is a group of companies in the state. They don't allow people to enter their premises at all. Yes, now that can be. They don't allow you to enter. On Monday, I was in one of them. You know, at the big one. I stayed in my car and I asked, they didn't allow us to enter. With me there, my police is there with me. I have other police, assistant police with me. And I said, just my car, my driver should just block their gate with my car. I didn't come out. My few people came out. So when they saw that action, they knew that there was a police. They now, one of them, what my case. I'm coming, although the governor is coming into your premises, you have delayed him. You are causing trouble for yourself. But I wasn't smiling at all. That was making up for it because now allow me to enter the premises. So if the police were not with me, probably we would have done this. We'll sit here and what they said that they now using the accusation that criminal people come to their premises to adopt them. So I said, no. Yes. Anger. Oh, yes. Anger. Police soldiers and soldiers were with them. So, but when I took that action, the soldiers came out, and everybody came out and I said, I want to know who is that guy. Because of course I used to recover the number. That's when they now open it up for us to go inside. So please, and for not payment of tax is criminal. It's a crime against the country. So they are committed a crime in the first place for not paying your tax. So if the tax evasion is a crime, so you need action to get that money out. So please don't stay on that side though. Thank you, sir.
Hello. My executive chairman, ladies and gentlemen. You see, with the new tax law that we have, and the process has already been put in. I think I'd like to say, if you look at the majority of it, you will just see that the only thing you see is that yes or no. I don't think we need to, carry on. Once the law has the next thing we need to do is put technology in place. We have all the necessary information, like Mrs. Colada said, correct data. Once we have the correct data, the next thing we need to move ahead. The law has already planned reduction in our payee on regular basis. What happens? Every employee complies. The only thing you get at the end of the day, then you will see how much it has been from your payee at the end of the day. The only thing we need to do going forward is proper awareness, enlightenment, up to even the yellow jars, All of them are using banking system. You understand me? Even OPay. So the next thing we just need to do, having agreed, you understand me? Let government move and approve deduction from source. And he said, no, it is, you said, yeah, you have to do assessment before you, yes, yes, it's just like you are having what we call your fines and fees. We have fines and fees. By the time we have done awareness again and again, everybody will apply. But you see, one of the things, what you see, the most important thing is what we normally do is not fear. But you see, for that. You understand me? We get a lot to back it up that okay, oh, we can deduct from the source.
You have the source with you.
Get me with the information that we have.
What he said is not out of place. It's not out of place. It's not out of place because in previous laws and in the current laws, there are sections that allows for garnishing of accounts. And we can obtain garnishing order to debit accounts directly. That is not in question. But I also want him to understand that the law must be broad enough to allow for multiple mechanisms for enforcement. The section that is being talked about is enforcement, right? So there are situations where there will be no account to debit, or there will be nothing in that account for you to debit. So what do? You may still have to go to the physical location and confiscate chattel and be able to sell it off eventually to recover the tax debt. The stream now has to be in place. We use powers to block accounts. Is a form of enforcement, right? Even litigation, when we take the taxpayer to court, is a form of enforcement. So, where you have to now access physical premises, believe me, if you join us, you will be the first to carry out.
Thank you very much. While you were discussing this, you just reminded me of this. That's a different thing, that it was a terrible thing. One of the movers and shakers of this country, you can't count top 10 without mentioning them, has a very big business in our territory, and they were not paying anything. And when we went there to serve assessment, it was soldiers that were shooting at us. Nigerian army. Nigerian army. He's a Nigerian, he's not an Igbo man, the owner of the business. But that's not where I want to go. So, Mr. Nohan, I want to speak from what the ED operations in Kaduna said, and Mr. Softman, that man, you know, he sleeps to this man, so they are soft. While their stuff, what they have said is not completely out of place. Multiple mechanisms for enforcement. First of all, if we are able to put it in black and white as law, that we are able to deduct and source. One. Two, there must also be correct data sharing mechanism that is very seamless and can make us access clean data My thesis, you will remember a case that we were told in India of a man that, you see, Indian system, you can't escape registration. We call it permanent account number, PAN. So everybody has it. So for this man, is using, as much as the government have tried to ensure that no one individual can ever be able to use two. This man is using multiple, but they are not linked to him, but he's the one using them. Somebody who has died, somebody who is no longer in service, completely retired and all of that. So he's using, but because there were, India has signed into international data sharing agreement with some other countries. The first hint they got of the man, I think he said it was in Portugal. It was in Portugal. No, before Ghana. He came to Ghana. Yeah, he came to Ghana, and the man came in with 50 million euro cash. 50 million euros cash. And then they look at his passport, and then he has they just take his name and send to India because of that agreement. And he said, I just want to use that to emphasize sharing of data, information. So they sent, they only delayed. You know, the traveling passport does not carry any data, only the name. So they profiled the name. They saw that he has a PAN number. They checked the PAN number, like the owner of this place, Christian farmer. The man was a 30 trader in India. So, can this person be carrying 50 million euro? They multiply that in Indian money. The man wants to explode. He said, So they started digging. So the first glimpse they will have about, they cannot find him in any social media, no anything. And that name, so many such names in India, so they don't even know who is who. So, but this profile all of them, and they start checking. So one day on social media, the daughter of that man posted herself with a renowned monument in Portugal. So they swung into action to follow that thing until they discover how much property the father has in Portugal. Not in the woman's name. Different name, different PAN number. So until after a long time, they were able to link all the PAN number to him with clear evidence. So they have done so many. In fact, they did it as a covert operation, even within the agency, so that poaching is not, the operation will not leak. So now coming to no harms, the day they will arrest the man, all the places that he has business interests that you can't ordinarily know is the person there. The same time, same day, same moment, were all attacked by tax authority. Boom! That was how they got the man. And if you remember how much they said, the man said, something Creole. But I multiply it that day, over 6 billion naira. And he just paid it without, it doesn't one case. One shot. So they told us about 2 cases like that. So if they did not go with arms, they can penetrate those premises and they might invalidate their case. Yeah, So, but also, I want to agree. I think this is around. I want to also say that that section and its thought is the extreme case. It's not. It won't be the usual practice. It will be the extreme of extreme that you really want to meet that person down. So after all other mechanisms have been exhausted. Thank you very much.
Just allow the presenter to continue.
Okay. Thank you, Ulysses. I think you have done justice to that. But I'll just say one thing. You need to serve people at times. To serve clients can be. To serve not to serve people, not to collect money. So we need sometimes in extreme cases we need that. Then the part to prosecute by legal officers of the service. This one is straightforward. You no longer need to send files to the Ministry of Justice. If you have legal officers, the service now have power to employ legal officers who shall have powers to prosecute any of the offences in any of the tax laws. Then what we need to do, I said we need to have established a special purpose tax officers unit under our enforcement department or directorate as the case may be. Then we need to develop new enforcement procedures and protocols. Then we need to identify the gaps between the legal enforcement team and other departments. Now, I will say this practical, something practical, and it has to do with our own service. This is a forum where we need to be frank with ourselves. We have procedure set down by DC on how enforcement should be done, but many of our DTOs, they still don't follow those procedures. The procedure is before you embark on any enforcement, compile the list. You start from compiling the list of all assessed taxpayers. You follow up with the list of those who have complied and those who are yet to comply. Then you send the list of those who are yet to comply and who are ripe for enforcement. I wanted to add that to you. That this hands you are talking about, you're not talking about from the initial stage. You must have complied with all the conditions precedent. Assessment must have been served, must have become final and conclusive. You must have even served the man notice before we now talk about enforcement. I wanted to say what EC or said. He said if we are on the other side, we will not pay. And that is the truth. We will not pay for not doing. Because we are under police state. So, our enforcement, our DTOs, you are doing enforcement work because you have to. It doesn't mean you should bypass the enforcement department. Because they will guide you on what to do. Don't just assume because you are DTOs, you have the power, just wake up and do random enforcement. And that's why we make mistakes in locking persons who have paid. If you follow the procedure, the enforcement department, you yourself would have been able to identify the places you are going to enforce. So it won't be random. Because that leads to pass, you prepare it, you strike out those who are paid, you strike out those that have not been properly served. But we just assume that because we have served that place, everybody was served. There may be one or two persons who did not serve that day in that premises. So please, let's follow that. So that's why we said the gaps between the legal, the enforcement team, and other departments carrying out enforcement duties. Then revised administrative penalty frameworks, how to distrain ourselves. We have complained about where do we keep items, how long, there are laws on that. The length of time we can keep it, I think 14 days. After 14 days, we have not come to pay, we have the power to sell. Maybe through an auction. You need to design guidelines on how to be doing these things. Maybe every 2 weeks, you carry out an auction of the items that have not been kept, that already have been kept for 2 weeks. So you won't have your store filled up without space. Now, we go straight to office of the tax office. I'll just summarize this. Now, because this law, this new tax reform is a bit taxpayers friendly than being friendly with tax authorities. I'll just you can see that the JRB, Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act, establishes the office of the tax ombudsman. And what are their functions? Their functions is to carry out to be an independent and impartial arbiter to review and resolve complaints relating to tax, levy, regulatory fee, and charges. They are to receive, investigate, review, and resolve complaints against tax officials and authorities through mediation and conciliation. They can enter our premises to carry out investigation and examine persons that will give them evidence or information. And they can also institute legal proceedings for taxpayers. They are also to provide information and raise awareness of taxpayer rights and obligations on the functions of the service and their own functions. It's supposed to tell the public, we are now here. If you have any issue with the tax authority, complain to us. These are their limits, these are their powers. They will tell the tax authority, they will sensitize the taxpayers on all these things. Now, they cannot make binding decisions. You have to know that. They can only make recommendations to the service. And you are not bound to follow their recommendations. However, in the next slide, we advise that we just advise that the service should try as much as possible to comply with their recommendations. Because they want to flex muscle. I believe they are tax experts, professionals, practitioners like us. So if they are bringing a recommendation to us, it means they have looked at the law. They are not working against us so that we don't do what the law, so that we don't make money. So if you have that behind our mind, when they make recommendations, we should try as much as possible not to tell them go to hell. That will save us from needless litigation. Just, we should this one, okay, no problem. But when we have good grounds, legal grounds to believe their recommendation is wrong,
Announcing the arrival of the guests that we have selected, Honorable Mr. Adede, former chairman of the IRS, and he's a member. I was just informed that he's a doctor, sorry sir, doctor, and he's a member of the Presidential Committee on the Tax Reform. So any argument that we have on that, I think we have someone that is going to clear it for us. Thank you, sir. You're welcome, sir. So I don't know, do you continue this one or? Let us stop what you are discussing.
No, let him at least rest for 5 minutes. He was literally rushing down because of time.
So on the tax of like I said.
So you can round up in another 10 minutes.
Okay. So just let us try as much as possible to comply with their recommendation. Okay, I'll skip this for personal. Okay, part of it is in the taxes and levies sent to Now, local governments are now expected to also automate their collection. They're expected to start raising harmonized bill, and they're expected to collect their money electronically. All these have been incorporated into our own state bill, which will be passed as soon as possible. So it is likely that some of the local government will be advised probably to stop using consultants, or they are using consultants to stop using their personal account to receive money. They have to use their local government account to receive money. Maybe do a splitting arrangement. We don't want to go into this because it's a bit bumpy. I have just a few minutes. So I'll just maybe allow you to raise questions on anything I've said that you feel you have a contrary opinion, or you feel you have something to say about. So before I leave the floor. The legal and steering committee, I commend all of you for what you have done on this. We are going to have our own training after this retreat. And I believe you have done justice to like 70% of what that training will cover. So what we have done, let us listen to our guards that we want to tap from. We will use this as our own training when we get back to our jurisdiction. So any question on
Actually, a couple. Two comments. One regarding the accreditation, and I think we heard that the tax authority will choose whatever criteria is suitable for them. And I think at the higher level, the GRB will still, in time, find a lasting solution to that because of the clause that is there that once somebody has been accredited, maybe in Kaduna, they can come to Ekiti and practice. So they don't want the idea of, you have not the way you register our tarmac. You have to register in Lagos, register in anywhere you want to collect job. They don't want those kind of registration. So the accreditation will still be kind of consolidated. Two is the issue of TCC. Whether the law is kind of silent on demanding for TCC. However, from what you were explaining, that you don't want to use TCC, the word TCC, but evidence of payment of taxes and all of that. Now, I think more importantly, what we should focus on is registration. That is provided in the law, that you must be registered. So if you have any cause to ask for TCC, rather than asking for TCC, ask for the tax ID. Once you have the tax ID, you can profile the person. It's very, very simple. Once you have the tax ID, the tax within the jurisdiction, the tax jurisdiction authority within that jurisdiction can now follow up and do due diligence on that person. So let's focus more on registration rather than demanding notices. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, just one comment as well, or maybe a suggestion. Now that doctor is here, and I know he's catching his breath, but he's hearing me as well. The exemptions for withholding tax deduction at source, it is of particular concern in the case of withholding taxes on rent that individuals are exempted. Because if you look at the rent market, you find out that there are more individuals paying rent than corporates or other unincorporated bodies. Perhaps the law will find a way to make exemption for withholding taxes on rent, particularly because if you take the number of people paying rent in any jurisdiction, you find that there are many, and if they are allowed to deduct, withhold, and remit, right, it is likely going to be a huge win for the tax authorities.
Thank you, sir. I believe you mean the people receiving rent.
Yes.
No, yes. The people receiving rent.
No, the people paying rent.
Paying. No, the obligation to deduct is on. No, let me explain. Maybe I don't. Sorry, the person receiving service is the person receiving. Now, I think what I think the person is now, if I want to pay rent, you are the one receiving the rent. I am the one paying. I am the one that is obligated to deduct out of the.
So that's the China
out of the rest.
But that's an individual.
Yes, in many cases, individuals.
I understand. Thank you. Please take note of that. For the next, it's at your level. At JRE. So you can do something about that.
Thank you.
Maybe for rent.
Okay, in respect of enforcement, I think if it is possible, the steps preceding the enforcement or enforcement and restraint, if it can be automated, because it's not a suggestion, because if it's getting TCC can be automated, the processes and all the rest. I'm suggesting if that could be automated, it's just for the task officers to be keen in some steps that will be completed into an app, and which there will be a dashboard that will flag all the the taxpayers that are due for enforcement of the state. Just a suggestion. Then the area of withholding tax again, I think technology too has a role to play. Because if I've remitted withholding tax on behalf of a particular taxpayer with the PIN or tax ID, I know with sort tax we have a dashboard where a taxpayer himself can log into to see the history of payment. So if I'm remitting on behalf of a particular taxpayer and the money has been paid, the taxpayer should be able to log in and see the history, and there should be an handshake, after the final assessment has been raised, such that the withholding tax that has been remitted will automatically reduce the final tax to be paid. I think that is very, very important as well. Thank you. Finally, taxpayers that knows that his income has been deducted from the source. In the law, is there that the contractee that is deducting the money should give receipt. If you know as a contractor or you have rendered a service and your income has been deducted, it is your responsibility now. It is just like a right that you insist receipt should be given unto you, of which you can present to Internal Revenue Service, and that we always compare them that they should remit as at when due. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we'll be taking care of by the guidelines.
Yes, thank you, sir. On the issue of the individual to detect there's a strategy which I want my organs, the ICs, to also take note, is that this is another way that we can get this particular money. When we should have enumeration officers, they should enumerate buildings, properties, what the tenant are paying to their landlords. So now the landlord will not charge them for assess them on rental income using personal income tax. So now what I'm saying is that now I'm having 10 tenants that have paid 10 million to me on annual basis. So now the law says that you cannot withhold withholding tax on it now. So what you need to do is that know that okay, this 10 million has paid to this particular landlord, and this landlord is not doing any job. So not to exempt it completely from paying tax. Let us now assess that particular landlord on rental income, and we'll get the money back. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador.
My own comment in the area of the revision of tax agent. Yeah, we need to be sure of who and whose responsibility it is to enter the tax agent. Yeah, it is very necessary. But for those of us that are members of ICANN, without apology, sorry, it is something that pains our hearts when this distinction is made and say SCR10 is superior to ICANN.
No, sir.
No, not superior, but because some of us are too young to know that CRTS started in the office of the Gateway and Co. True. you know. So see your child growing up bigger than you, it's a pain somehow.
It's not a pain.
I will explain that. I will clarify it. I will clarify it. I will explain.
Because people like us, we were just going to just pay certain amount for registration and we start member. We never wrote any exam. I didn't have any exam. Yeah. So please, I don't know. It would be better to just stop at the relevant tax authority without indicating any other complication. You know, MBA, you know you people now, you want to design an account at the point. Don't forget. You want to design an account at the point. You say, okay, go and sign now. You then you sign and sign what will take you to lawyer. So please, let's also look at that. However, I agree. Who will do the registration? Is it the CRTN or the tax authority, NRS in this case?
I will clarify.
I think let's also be sure of that so that we will know once you are registered with NRS, you register with all Nigerians. Not that you are registered somewhere, you get to another place, you have to register again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I need to correct that expression. I never meant that.
Don't worry yourself.
It's
beyond you.
So they all debate that day too. So thank you. So on this note, I'll end the presentation here, and I believe we'll continue after the debate. Thank you so much.
All right, I think we thank God for how far He has set us. While Endega was discussing, how do I call you now? Emeritus chairman of those Internal Revenue Service came in, and he's been traveling, and so we should understand why he came a bit late. Let me tell a little story before I call him up. When I got appointment as the executive chairman, a very good friend, Honorable Ishola Akibade, said, you can't start this work without meeting to do, and then did everything. And they said, we agree at the time that we will meet in Lagos. But the gentleman said, no, it's better you come to Akure. So my first missionary journey as an executive chairman was actually on those State Internal Revenue Service. The way he took me and my team that day is still, there is a lasting memory of, because being an executive chairman, I know how the day of an executive chairman runs. And that's why, where is that my daughter that was saying, okay, you are the man there. You always complain that, chairman, you are not resting, work-life balance, she has picked it over. I said, by the time you become an executive chairman, you will know how to balance. You realize that some things are just theoretical, a kind of. So the explanations he gave that day, the way he broke things down, the way he explained and he said, even without his permission, I could meet any of his team and ask some specific questions that could lead to the success of Ekiti Internal Revenue, that at least let's break the case of not crossing 1 billion. So he opened the door and explained and broke everything down in a simple way. And several times again, I was sick of Ogatolu. How do I handle this? And he explained it. That's why when non-ranking members also come to those of us that are ranking. Okay. So because it's an obligation, if you have learned freely from someone, you should also give out freely. And when we were planning this thing, it occurred to me somehow that we should bring somebody who had always been a member of that presidential advisory committee. Let them, at least one of them will come, because we were not there when they were cooking the thing. Now that it's done, we are being served. Let us even know the ingredients, what led to what, And he was really excited when I told him that it is not Ekiti alone that will be speaking with Ondo, Oyo, Osun. They are also there. And so this is the kind of collaborative spirit that Kaduna is also there, collaborative spirit that will, because Kaduna, Kano, and the northern 19 states met about 2-3 weeks ago for a retreat. And I'm not sure whether Southwest, whether we have ever had, apart from GTB meeting, whether we have ever had 3-4
and this retreats, this
so this one now, I still don't know how I'm going to explain to Ogun. I don't know how I'm going to explain to Lagos because it wasn't. No, they are big brothers. So, but it wasn't something that I premeditated on that, oh, we are going to exclude them or whatever. But I will apologize to those my non-skaters. So without much ado, I want to call Dr. Tolu Ademe to take us through.
Okay, this is that.
Good afternoon, the esteemed chairman present. Let's all put us down because of time, but I have to recognize the EC of your state. Thank you very much for coming, EC of Osun State, and the EC Ekiti, our host. Thank you. I have to call Ondo last because that's where I go. And the EC Ondo. Thank you very much. And the EC Oyo. No, I'm coming to Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Mohammed, I have to apologize. You know, I'm going to be in Kano with you all this week. Yes. But I was abroad. I came back on Thursday. Yes. So I had to send somebody who represented me. And said he did well, yes. Because I was worried on, I was a king, you know, and all of that. So I was hopefully kind of for the whole of the week, but I couldn't present them. I think we did some good work in but then I hope you are coming and 8-9, I'm supposed to come now to Kaduna. Yes. I think I will come. I'll come. Yes, I'll be Kuala next week. So I'm just going all over. Okay, all right. So thank you very much. Esteemed members of the State Revenue Service, I'm happy to be here. I thank your chairman for the opportunity he's inviting me here today. I need help. I need somebody to volunteer to be timekeeper. So we have it. We have a timekeeper. So when it's 30 minutes, tell me. I understand I have 1 hour, but this is a 2-hour presentation. So when it's 30 minutes, just tell me. So I will now round up the next 30 minutes so we can now ask questions thereafter. So, again, my name is Tolu Vincent Aligbe. I've been a member of the Presidential Social Policy and Taxation Committee since inception, and then also the Presidential Committee, and also former executive chairman of the State Revenue Service. Of course, we all know that the President signed the law, before tax bill law of 2025. These are the 4 laws: Nigerian Tax Act, Nigerian Tax Administration Act. We're talking about it. We'll send you questionnaires and I will show you the result of that questionnaire at the end of this presentation. So now, why was this whole tax reform necessary? This is from the committee, just quickly run through it. Just show you how important it was for us to do the tax reform by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Before 2023, the trade deficit, we had a huge trade deficit and negative balance of payments. We had multiple official FX rate windows, and there was a wide parallel market premium. We had a 7 billion on net demand in terms of FX, and the external reserve was lower than 4 billion. I'm sure we know that today external reserves are about 40 billion. Before 2023, it was 4 billion. So it has increased by over 44 billion in 2 years. That's unprecedented. Well, tax to GDP ratio less than 10%. Sustainable policy, subsidy policy, negative fact flow, we have salary arrears, high budget deficit, low capex spend, over 30 trillion. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes, sir. Okay. So over 30 trillion in waste and means declining oil and gas production, market controlling policies, high rising inflation, rising poverty, declining recent job opportunities, weak policy coordination, and poor public communication. There was also inefficient public financial management and rising interest rates. But after the reforms, as of today, we have trade surplus, we have balance of payment, we have unified the official exchange rate, and reduced gap with the parallel markets. FX forward has been cleared. Net external reserve is over 23 billion as at this date, but now it's about 40 billion. So FX is now allowed on naira cards. Tax to GDP ratio was 13.5. This figure was in 2024. As at today, I think our tax to GDP ratio is now about 16. And wasteful subsidy eliminated. This has guaranteed product availability. No more fuel scarcity, declining budget deficit, and more infrastructure spending. They pay down on the waste and means with central bank, and the rising crude oil and gas production. Nigeria is actually limiting its corporate quota. Then we have upgrades from credit rating agencies of our sovereign wealth fund. Then we have market-friendly policies now. Market-friendly policies. So that the capital market, even though the capital market people are complaining about CGT, it's asked me a question on that CGT I will explain to you. So we have declining and moderating inflation. Inflation, as at last week, who saw the report? They said that Nigerian inflation is at the lowest in 10 years, isn't it? It's coming down. Okay, yeah, but of course, and people are still complaining, and they should complain. That while it is coming down statistically, we have not yet felt it in our pockets. Yes. Isn't it? Yes. Good. So high poverty and decent job opportunities is what is left to be done. We need better policy coordination and communication, and of course, high or moderate interest rate environment. So imagine if Nigeria we did not do the reports. What would have been today, 2025? What would have had would have been larger trade deficits and negative balance of payments, multiple exchange rate window would have remained, parallel market premium would have remained, maybe even increased. Remember before, official rates and black market rates are so wide, but now it's almost the same, isn't it? So, and then the 10 billion plus in terms of unmet demand and negative net external reserve would have increased. Tax to GDP ratio of less than 10% before, only God knows what to do now. But if you're using 100% of the debt to service, 100% of the revenue to service debt, definitely something is bound to give. So the subsidy regime will have collapsed. There will have hyperinflation instead of the reduction in inflation we're having now. Higher budget deficits, more people in poverty and declining, and a decline of decent job opportunities. The 50 trillion waste and means will have remained. Then, of course, oil and gas production will have remained and come back. All of this leads to policy uncertainty and inconsistency. Of course, the market unfriendly policies will remain, which we have removed now. A very high interest rate environment will have remained. So, these are some of the things that have led to the issue of reforms, and we can see the results. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all these macro issues. What has been done, what has been done, what we're trying to do, and all of that. But let me just quickly take this one. So what we've done from the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Committee is that we have dealt with the issue of withholding tax rates, high exemption threshold for small businesses. We have introduced a progressive tax regime. We've eliminated tax on investment and capital. We have rationalized incentives. We have harmonized federation taxes and levies. Reduced VAT burden by introducing the input VAT. So, and what is being done right now, we have the National Fiscal Policy Framework. The draft is actually out. It's available online. We have the tariffs review and redesign. Harmonization of federal collective taxes and levies is being worked on right now. We have national policy on excise tax on harmful consumptions. These are the taxes on tobacco, sugar sweetened beverages, and things like that. We call them harmful consumption. Then regulation and guidelines, then promote business formalization, fiscalization and invoicing, and e-invoicing. So what the committee plans to do going forward is harmonization of subnational taxes for states. This has not been done. Right now, a law has just been, a draft of a law is being circulated out to all the states. I will go through it. It's here in this presentation. So if all the states passes that law, then we now have something to work with starting January. Then the presumptive tax regime for people who are in the informal sector. This is also being worked on. We could not conclude it 2 weeks ago in Abuja, but we are hoping that we'll meet early December and conclude this, and then we share with all the states. They are going to be addressing other structural and fiscal constraints, and then reduction of corporate tax rates. So my chairman, don't promise this thing, because they told us that the House of Assembly, they're not going to reduce it in the next 3 years at the public hearing, but well, it's there, we're dreaming. Budget and spending reforms, constitutional amendments, which is ongoing, and voluntary disclosure program. Now, this constitutional amendment issue, the Constitution grants some rights to the local government and to the states, especially the local government, clearly stated what the local governments can do. So, in terms of approvals of taxes and levies acts, you cannot do anything about those constitutional rights of the local government. Wheelbarrow, collection, radio and TV, all those, we call them nuisance taxes. Whether they are nuisance or they are not nuisance, they are in the Constitution as part of the responsibility of the local government. So unless you change the Constitution, there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you can do about it is what we're trying to do now as a stopgap, which is in the current legislation that I'm sure Nero has it now, which was circulated to all the chairmen of the State Revenue Service, which is the Constitution allows every state to pass a law that affects local government finances. So riding on that, each state is going to be passing that law, not to say the local government cannot collect those, but you can harmonize the collection. So instead of having 4 items, separately, you have 4 items listed, and you now send one bill to each of the people. So once they pay that one bill, they have covered the 4 items. So that's the principle behind what we're trying to do, but I'll show us as we get there. Okay, so moving quickly now. Your head of legal, I came in at the end of the meeting. He has done a good job, but I just quickly put some areas, highlighted some areas that affect states. So if you get a copy of this presentation, it's like a bibliography. Any issues you have, once you come here, you will see it. Then you can go into the law and go and look at it. This is Nigerian Tax Act, and these are the key provisions in the various chapters. I won't go into it again. There are 203 sections, yes, including the citation. And then we have the schedules, 14 schedules for the Nigerian Tax Act. So they are moved to the Nigerian Tax Administration Act. You can see it. I can hardly see it here myself too. Has 148 sections. This essentially determines how how we operate as an internal revenue service. But I'll go into what concerns us today. This is for the GRB. Yes, let's start from here. This is the approved list of taxes. I'm sure we all know it. But you know it has been repealed. Yeah. It's no longer in existence. So if this has been repealed and it's no longer in existence, on what basis will any state collect tax in 2026 apart from paying? On what legal ground will you collect that? It's repealed. The one of 1998, General Salam, repealed because he said, notwithstanding anything in the Constitution, because of that statement. So that one of 1998 has been repealed by Supreme Court a long time. So there's none. You don't have any basis. What has been done at our committee is that we provided the federal government their own basis of collection, but the states have not been dealt with. The only person who has some form of legal authority now are local governments, because their functions are defined in the Constitution. So it brings me to the issue that if any state does not pass this new approved list that we are sending around between now and January, you will have a gap in your hands. So this is the bill. Now, let's now go to what concerns us. We all heard about payee, personal income tax, the new tax band. What we do not have had is this. Let's look at this table very well. This from Starwood and our committee. Based on the new tax bands that were introduced, almost everybody in the state civil service will pay less tax. The only people who will pay more tax are people whose annual gross pay is above 30 million. If your gross pay is below 30 million, you will pay less tax. Now, I want to ask, let's use as an example. I don't want to ask my chairman, you are in the code today. How many taxpayers in Ekiti State do you know that is earning 30 million per annum?
Not up to 20.
Eh?
Not up to 20.
Not up to 20. So automatically, what this table is telling you is that your pay will what? Some people have been saying, oh, it's only the minimum wage earners that were exempted. Yes, they were exempted, they are on zero. But based on even the new calculation of everybody else, everybody's tax will drop, including all of us here. I know you are happy because as a person, you earn more, isn't it? But as a tax authority, your job becomes more everybody. So it's only places like Lagos, Port Harcourt, that has all those oil companies that will be able to make enough money from this group in 9 and 10 to cover the gap. And let me show you that it is very easy to cover that gap. Okay, if you add, based on this, if you add the difference from 1, 2, 3 to 8, all that negative, if you add it together, ordinary item 9 can cover it. Not the top of item 10, isn't it? Yes. So what happens to Lagos and Port Harcourt and all those places? They are paying. So what happens to those of us in the?
Very.
So it means that we have to be what? More creative. And I'll take to the advantages and the opportunities that are inherent. So from payee, you have a gap. Both federal payee, state payee, every payee, you have a gap. Some states like Oyo and Kaduna, with a lot of companies, and then with senior staff of companies, resident there. Because some senior staff earn more than this. So you may be able to break even. It may not affect you too much. But for Osun, Ondo, Ekiti, Kwara, why are you going that far? Definitely, we are going to have issues. So we are approaching this from a statistical perspective. Good. Now, let's now go to what are the implications of so many things that we have done here. So for the personal income tax, we have said it that individual earning less, of course, will pay. Individual earning minimum will not pay. The significance of this is that paying will reduce significantly. And then the rent relief that has been granted has also been introduced. You know that rent relief up to 500,000, isn't it? Yes. We also bring down the amount of taxable income, isn't it? Yes. So the person asking a question about the landlord, the whole idea of this rent relief is that you only qualify for that rent relief if you give us information about your landlord that you pay the rent to. So when you say, oh, this is my tax, your office has done your tax and everything, you want to claim that rent relief, it must be accompanied by the information of your landlord, who you pay the tax to, who you pay the rent to. So that way, we will now capture. So it is a crowd and stick approach. To qualify for it, give me the evidence of who you pay to. Who is the man? Where is the receipt? Where is the house address? And all of that. With that information, you know, there's nobody who not want to give you that. Knowing that you are saving him what? 500,000. So that's the idea. Okay. So also, we all know that before now, gifts were not exempt. If you buy a car for your wife, you know you pay. They call it benefit in kind. That's the way they calculate it. But now we have exempted gifts. So give your wife anything, donate to your church, because you want people to help others. So donate to your church. You know, give your family, give mama a home, give papa. Please, not girlfriend though. So, anyway, we are saying to they need help. So you want. But anybody you give to in terms of charity, all charitable donations now are what? Exempt from paying taxes. If you look at allowable deductions and reduced for individuals to continue, pension is there, national insurance, national housing fund, all these have always been there. So all these relief for the rent relief and all of that means what? It reduces your PIT base, isn't it? Your taxable income. So now we also introduced pension fund and assets under the pension reform tax. All pension assets are now tax exempt, pension and gratuity, retirement benefit tax exempt, loss of employment of up to 50 million tax exempt. Before now, compensation for loss of employment is taxable because we consider it as your final pay, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they tax it, you know, but now exempted. So all of this will lead to reduction in your personal income tax. Now, let's look at some opportunities. Filing of annual returns. So one of the things we wanted to do with this tax reform was that for the people who comply, you'll be rewarded. For the people who don't comply, you'll be punished. And therein now lies one of the advantages for the internal revenue services and why we're going to need to change some things in the way we operate. So let's look at filing of annual returns. It says now that all individuals must file tax returns personally with respect to all their income and then their global income from all sources as prescribed by the tax authority. And of course, all employers must also file a return. So, taxation of non-resident too, anybody who is a resident of your state or who is a non-resident but derives some form of economic gain from an asset located in Nigeria or in your state must also file a return. So we have a lot of stories of people who say that, well, I live abroad,
I just built a hotel here just to help people, this and that, you know, that hotel is an economic asset, isn't it? They must now file a return. You know, before they used to argue with us. They say, no, I paid my time, my tax abroad, this and that. Now we have now put in the law to cover that loophole. Now they must file a return. If they don't file a return, then we'll penalize them. But let's look at the advantages here. So, if all individuals are now mandated by law to file a return, companies are already doing that. Isn't it? But some companies say that, oh, the former law exempts me because I have just 5 employees, isn't it? Yes. Anything above 5 is what to file, but below 5 you don't need to file. Now the law has said everybody. So there's no escape anymore. The whole idea now is that we now have a wider tax base. You know, you now have more people to tax, at least to review, to do assessment for, whether they are liable to tax or not. So in doing that, you have more opportunity to capture more income. You know, before, I will demonstrate by saying that we are collecting taxes for, say, from 20 people, and we are flogging them. With this law has actually opened us to collect tax from 100 people. Even if 20 remains exempted, you know, we have 80 new people that we can chase. So the base is now bigger if we, tax authority, take advantage of it. That's number one. Then, this simpler provision makes it very easy now for us to target the number one person that all state and revenue service must face in this new dispensation. We call them the high net worth individuals. Ekiti, Ondo, Oyo. There's only 2 ways you can grow when it comes to income tax. It's from that base and from the high net worth individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, I just demonstrated with you, for you, showing you that slide, that the tax from that person at the lowest can cover for the gap of all those people. One high net worth individual, one senator from your state, who claims that, oh, I have my tax clearance from National Assembly, they've jumped my payee. And you know that senator has 5 businesses, 5 here. This law now allows you to file to levy on him additional taxes based on those businesses. Because he's supposed to file returns on all sources of what? Because before now, that's what they tell us. This is the Bible. They say, what do you mean? This is National Assembly. Call you National Assembly. And there's nothing in the law. The law says once they have a tax clearance, but now, this one now says from all sources. So the National Assembly is from your what? Your salary.
Which is one source.
Which is one source. But we know that you have more. So the issue of tax clearance now, you just have tax clearance, it's okay. We are not saying that. You won't see it. Head of legal, I should have it. It says that you can render additional assessment irrespective of whether the person has tax clearance or not. So the NSS individuals, they cannot run away again.
Wonderful.
So also, the non-resident person is liable to pay tax over an economic asset, like I told you before. Let's move. Tax ID. So every individual now must have a tax ID. I had the head of legal talking about that. So this also will help you to grow a tax base in the state exponentially. So what you need is just a robust ICT infrastructure to comply with the requirement to capture and store the data. Remember with tax ID now, all tax transactions must be tied to a tax ID. So the same tax ID will be used for when you want to do motor vehicle license registration, they want to pay for CFO,
they want to pay, what else? Maybe register for Ministry of Health and land use. So that tax siding will permeate every single thing they do with you. Every assessment now must carry a tax ID. So the era of writing by hand, doing all those things is gone. You must put in infrastructure, Chairman. Yes, infrastructure to do all of this. But if you do it right, honestly, you will see your tax base grow. Then you have linkage between when somebody comes to you now and say, oh, I don't have money. I just put in the tax ID and it shows that the person just registered a brand new car, Mercedes-Benz 280 SLK. I say he does not have money. What does that mean? And then, wait for it. If the person says I don't have money, and you check in Lagos, in Ekiti, with the tax ID, there's nothing. You go to JTV platform, key the tax ID. He will pull the person's information from all over the country. So where can I network delivery and not to? But this can only be possible if what? If you have a system that can accept the data, store the data, and retrieve the data for you in an intelligent manner, for you to be able to do proper assessments. Because you can have the data and you may not be able to retrieve it. Or you can have the data and then maybe you have given it to one consultant, and then you are the consultant you are fighting, then the consultant just shuts you down, then overnight, no access to the data. So, of what is that data? So, one of the things that you must do as an internal revenue service is that, yes, you can get a consultant to customize for you and all of that, but the ownership of that platform must reside with you. It can never again be with a consultant. So you have to know that when you are appointing consultants or you are giving them a job, they can help you in terms of designing and all of that, but they must hand over to you such that it is your name that there's something they call a source file or something. That's the one they turn off and on. Source code. Source code. The source code must be with you. So no consultant can turn you off and on. Okay, so tax ID, those are the advantages. Then of course now we now have returns from banks and other financial institutions. You know, before now, banks just give us returns of account open, isn't it? Yes. They don't give us returns of transactions, but now they must give us returns for transactions. So if you have all these returns, with some of them sending a hard copy, how do you translate it into the system in such a way that you can use that data? So the only choice you have is to ask the bank to send it to you in soft copy, which they will send in Excel form. So how do you collate all of that? So your IT system must be very robust. I'm insisting on this, so you know that there's going to be a lot of investment in ICT. And you need the right people. There are so many people in the ICT space. I've sat on so many people who come and say they want to do ICT, and the government just will promise to do, come and sit down, Zoom meeting. By the time they finish, I just ask 1 or 2 questions, and then that's it. They know the theory, they don't understand the application, and that is a gap. So you have to be careful in choosing who you are going to choose. This is what you need from them. So they don't speak a lot of big English, they speak at the end of the election, but you start wondering, what are they talking about? When the presentation, they started showing us, as we have that presentation on Zoom, they designed an AI that showed us speaking. I'm like, is this another meeting? They said, no, you just need AI of all of us here and put some words in our mouth. I said, quickly I log out. It has gotten to that. So they can do a lot of things, but is it applicable to you? to what you want. So don't let's be mesmerized by a lot of things we are going to hear from consultants. Look at what is applicable to you and to your circumstance and your situation. That is what we need to increase IGR. Okay. So that's returns of banks. Then accreditation of tax agents. So the law says that tax agents have to be accredited by the relevant tax authority. However, the GRB is expected to accredit the tax agents in a uniform manner that allows them to practice and sign annual returns, and returns will be filled or signed by an accredited tax agent or the individual. Now, the implication of this, let me just explain, is that tax agents were introduced for one main reason. We want all returns, tax returns, to be signed by somebody who has been accredited. Now, it states the accreditation for farmers is completely different. There are two separate laws in this. The one for tax agents is for returns and for representing taxpayers. And that's why they said in that law, they said any tax, once you have been, there are two levels of accreditation. We have the primary one, in which case you're a member of ANAN, CITN, or ICANN, or MBA as a lawyer. So that one, they have professionally qualified you so that you know law, also you know tax. Do you understand? But however, there's a second level of accreditation, which we call registration. That one is to give you a registration number, which you will be putting on every tax return that you file on behalf of somebody. So you put your name, you put your your registration number. So if there are issues with that return, we know it is you. You know, now they just write the right names. Even in the olden days, they used to just write the name of the company. You won't see the name of the person. So now it's to hold people individually accountable for the quality of returns that are being filed. So if you have a taxpayer to dodge a lot of things and do mathematical and all of that, and you put your number there, everyone will discover eventually, we will know that it is this man. Then you can be reported to the GRB, then you can blacklist you. And a lot of people complain, just like my eminent chairman, he said, I can, and this and that. There is a precedent to it. Who has heard of Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria? You have heard? You know, when does Financial Reporting Council apply to you? It applies to you when you're already an ICANN member, isn't it? Now, if you want to sign an AFS, Abi, without Financial Reporting Council, can you sign? So, if people are now saying, after I'm qualified, they want to go and register again. Why are you registering with Financial Reporting Council? Why don't you just say, I can, I'm man, I sign. But you can't do that. So after your professional qualification, you still have to go and register again to be able to sign annual financial statement. Abi? Yes. So that's what we're doing with the tax. So after your qualification, ICANN, ANAN, CITA, and all of that, now come and register and get a number, which you will be affixing on every return that you sign. Is it new?
I think the confusion is, if I'm signing, is it the CITN, my CITN number I will use, or I'm going to register afresh? That's the confusion.
Very good. So you are going to register afresh.
Then there's
And the reason why you are registering afresh is simple. In a lot of companies that we have, their CFO may not actually be a CITN member. We just have ICANN. And we don't want to say, oh, if you are not CITN member, you cannot do the job that you have been employed to do. Okay. In any case, remember this law says even an individual can find it out for himself.
Yeah.
Abi?
Yeah.
And so,
it makes sense.
As an individual, I can find my return. I'm not CITN, I'm not MBA, I'm not ICANN, I'm not anything. But in my return, you don't say that I can do it myself, and I can do it myself. Isn't it? Yes. So we're just trying to provide some standardization, like they do abroad in other places. We want to hold people accountable. But in Nigeria, everything is still along different divisive lines. Certain has come to say, no, certain is the number one tax. We have told all our members to come and join us free of charge. That's why our chairman got certain free of charge. He just paid. Yes. That if already ICANN or ANAN, you don't need to take exam, you're already pre-qualified. It's just the tax element of your job that wants to be satisfied, or isn't it? So they give it to them, more or less, like that. So, but what we're trying to say is this: apart from just making it a purely a CITED issue, we are saying we open it up. If you look at the law very well, the law opened it up. The law did not insist that it's CITED. But for us, when it comes to JRB, we have told JRB. Should I say this?
Yes, sir. The door is locked.
The door is locked. JRB will probably not license, register anybody who doesn't have certain license. Yes. No, sorry, not certificate. Certification, yeah. Because by law, they are the only ones by law, permitted. But we didn't want to know, what about the National Assembly to do public hearing on this thing? There are so many ICANN members there. When we put CIT, they said, what? We said here. It was the office of Mr. John it became an issue. And we wanted to pass the tax agency thing, so we said, look, let's just remove it. And after we removed it, hey, CIT called us to Lagos. Betrayal! Did you betray your profile? You can't win. It's not an easy job. So anyway, so that's it about tax agents. I'm going to take us to something else about tax agents quickly. So, administrative assessments. This is another opportunity. So this issue of tax agents, right, will lead to a lot of people. The effect of it is that it leads to a lot of people now putting proper figures in the returns, knowing that they can be punished if their figures are fake. So this one will now give us true situation of everybody. So you can now assess them properly. Once we have proper information, we can assess properly. What happens? Our figure will go up. There's no way it won't go up. Now, let's look at administrative assessments. Best of judgment is here. Now for tax investigation, before it's 10 years, you can't go after, we remove that limit. You can do investigation over and over and over and over, as long as you have information. Yes, as long as you have information. So, and then of course, best of judgment remains. So, if you put the ease of doing business, no defaulter will escape. So, this of accessible persons to tax, this is another thing. The law now says, this is the relevant law. The relevant authority shall maintain assessment list of taxable persons assessed to tax. That means you must have a list of your taxpayers. Every Internal Revenue Service, you must have a database of taxpayers by law now. Before it was there, but it was not like this, but now it's compulsory. So it brings me to what? Your IC. So now the effect of this is that this will go exponentially in the tax base of the state. So if the IRS needs to have a robust ICT infrastructure. Now, power to destroy. I know Mr. Nyafe will like this. They like it. Yeah, some people may not like it, but a lot of people will like it. So the NTA section 61.4 now says that asset that you destroy, asset destroyed by the service under this section may, at the cost of that person or corporate body, be kept for 14 days. At the end of that time, if the amount due in respect of the tax, costs, and charges incidental to the destroyed are not paid, they may, subject to section 7, be sold without an order of the High Court. So now, You don't need court order to display. Remember, this was what was in the Personal Income Act 2004. In 2011, they amended it and said you cannot do anything without court order, right of fair hearing. Now we are taking it back to what it was. So if but please don't do what you are doing on those days. Somebody with the account tactic that somebody is owing rent, a normal food seller is owing some taxes, and then they get there, you are not paying, you don't, they just carry the pot of stew. And they will displaying it. Well, I don't know how you want to keep a pot of stew for 6 days. So, but that's why I quoted that section of the law, so we can see it. You know, all the rest I've not been quoting, I'm just talking about it. The end of the day I can take it through. But I quoted this particular one, is there. The only thing, that's subsection 7, the only thing you cannot sell is a fixed asset. That's a house. You can't sell somebody's house without his knowledge. Time to answer question. So, power to the state. So, the power to recover taxes from the state without controller will boost revenue, isn't it? And we empower, so, then you must, the state system must have well-served legal department to keep track of all such actions. Because, ladies and gentlemen, even though they say we can do it, Nigerians now are a lot more educated, area of social media. We need to do something. Every time we are doing an act like this, thank you, we should keep track of it. Legal department should keep track of it. For administrative purpose. So where we are going, what we have been paying, what we have taken, how much is the tax, what did we go and carry, when we sold it on auction, how much did we get, and all of that. So it's not the taxation alone that should keep that record. Thank you. We should also, legal department, you should keep records of every displayed activity. It will be very, very key. Please. Okay. So I've already spoken about tax investigation and then the interest and penalty waiver. Now, interest and penalty waiver. Before now, interest and penalty waiver. Was it in our law that chairman can waive anything, can waive interest and penalty?
No.
But we do it anyway.
Only the governor.
Only, yes now, only the governor.
Only the governor.
Yes, only the governor. But that delegated authority must be right. You cannot assume an authority. Have you? But now it has been put in the law. NTA section 12 and 66. If the IRS can waive interest and penalty, non-principal, in part or whole. However, he must send a report to the Commissioner of Finance every month for the amount waived and why. So they gave responsibility, but at the same time, they want to hold you accountable. Yes. So, but now, what I'm saying is that it is now legally something you can do. But in terms of, we all know now, between you and your commissioner, or that would be safe, I've signed it, send it to me, send it. But the most important thing is that the ease of doing business, the ease of resolving tax issues will become faster, isn't it? Yes. Please, you can't waive principal, you can only waive what? Interest and penalty. Okay, so CGT, a lot has been said about this. So, sale of an owner-occupied house is tax exempt, personal effect tax is occupied tax exempt, sale of up to 2 private vehicles exempt, gains on shares below 1 million tax exempt,
gains on shares above exemption thresholds. If you invest the proceeds, you put it back, then it's exempt. It's exempt. So development levies, now we have small companies who will pay small companies are exempt from the 4% development levy. This one doesn't really affect us. So we don't have credit notes. This one affects us. We already know that rent, has been exempted for individual, isn't it? It's only tax on rent. But the one that is even key is the provision that credit notes are now to be issued by the person withholding the fund and not the IRS. You know, before it's the IRS that writes the credit notes, isn't it? And we give it to them so they can come and claim. But now, it's the person withholding that we're giving it to the person they withheld the money from. You know, and they now use that withholding credit note to come and claim money from us. And it will be legal. So we have to just make sure that our systems are watertight and so that this is not abused. If not, there can be a lot of hanky-panky that can be played around here. Yes. So please take note of this. Then also, of course, it exempts small companies with turnover under 25 million from deducting building tax on transactions of up to 2 million, provided the vendor has a valid TIN number, and also exempts on specific transactions, telephone charges, etc. So the definition is that the TIN requirement imposes a double withholding tax rate for suppliers without TIN, which means if you don't have TIN, this is just making everybody to have TIN. Everybody will have TIN. If you want to enjoy rent relief, you must have TIN. If you want to enjoy withholding tax relief, you must have TIN. You know everything, you must have TIN. You know if everybody has TIN, what happens? Our taxpayer database, what happens to it? It grows. That's the whole idea. Of course, rather tax and the exempt, well, we don't collect VAT, so let's move on. This is another one for state and revenue service. Penalties. So, section 100 to 127, 27 sections introduce various forms of administrative fines. You know, by law, I don't think this correct me if I'm wrong. You cannot impose a fine unless you go to court. Yes, Abi? Yes, but now we introduce what we call administrative fine. You don't need to go to court. So an infraction happens, chairman looks at you, you come and are doing based on the law. And the amount are stated there. And it's legal. So a lot of power has been given back to the chairman of Internal Revenue Service. Yes. You can detain without court order. You can impose fine without court order. As long as you have served all the requisite notices, isn't it? The man notice, the first one, the second one, so, but you can't. So, we believe that this will increase revenue and help to cover for some of those gaps.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, you know the fines, it includes, if you don't pay your return, it's 100,000. Then 50,000 per quarter, something like that. If you don't do this, 50,000, 100,000. So one person, by March, he may have incurred up to 200,000. Maybe even your tax is 100,000. But in terms of fines that you have incurred, so I expect that a lot of people will come to the chairman's office, you know, to appeal. Except of course, chairman delegates the authority to another constituted authority to act on his behalf. But what we are saying here is this: we are creating opportunities for Internal Revenue Service to be more efficient, do you understand? To be more accountable, to be more responsible, you know, and we are giving them some instruments to wield. To punish people is their punishment instrument, to punish people who does not obey the law. Okay, the stamp duty and exemptions, well, I'm sure we'll take care of that. Now, taxation of high net worth individuals. So, with the legal backing to conduct tax investigation and the provision to file annual returns based on total income,
HNS cannot be targeted specifically to pay tax on total income. So this has massive potential to increase revenue. What do I mean? Honestly, I can see, if I go to a party now, and I see Mr. Nyafe spraying dollars, I can launch a tax investigation to them. This law gave me that power now. Now, I don't need any formal information or addition. I just need reasonable suspicion, and I can launch a tax investigation into anybody. So anybody that tells me I have TCC, I have this, I have that, I have okay, no problem. Let me launch a tax investigation. Send the name to NFIU, send the name to this, and inform the person. I'm launching a tax investigation into you to check for those sorts of income and all of that and all that. This law just empowered you. What are the chairman becoming? You know they are becoming very. But it is to help you do what? Go after people who have been escaping payment of tax because of loopholes in the law. We are now closing those loopholes and giving all the power to the chairman. You know, we are not saying governor, we are not saying commissioner of finance. We are naming the tax authority as the person who has the power to do this. So we have a lot of opportunities to cover the gap. Now, approving of taxes, I've already spoken about that, has potential to increase revenue exponentially. Now, the issue of tax agents, I've also spoken about that. But here comes the word of caution. And when I came here, I saw them talking about the office of tax ombudsman. Please, tax ombudsman, look at number one job to challenge tax authority. That's what we are set up. Any tax authority tells the taxpayer, no, chairman does something flex not too much, they report it to the tax ombudsman. Tax ombudsman will come and investigate it. Any tax staff, you go to the taxpayer and say, bring me something, pay something, do something. If they report it to tax ombudsman will come and investigate you. Now, what we not give to tax ombudsman so that they don't disrupt the work of the revenue service is that you cannot prosecute, you cannot arrest, you cannot do anything. The only thing is that no, you cannot prosecute, but you can go to court, you can sue on behalf of the taxpayer if the taxpayer does not have money. That means take the case to court. But it's not like you start telling the tax authority, you know, well, you're harassing, no. But what you can do again, what the tax authority does is that everybody they have investigated, all the staff of the tax authority, and all in all the states, at the end of every quarter, they will submit your name to the Minister of Finance. And at the end of the year, they will publish a report to the National Assembly listing all the people they investigated, their names, their IRS, what the offense, what the issue was, how it was resolved. And even if it was not resolved, it will be there. So the tendency that your name will be coming out in the public, and then I trust punch. They will be waiting for that report. They will just carry any affair or no say that revenue service investigated for all. That one alone is bad. Then if you now see some states, they have 50 cases. Some states, 2 cases. Some states, 100 cases. What is it will happen? They say chairman of those states that they are always investigating them. What is going on in that state? And then very soon they will start, the best run IRS in Nigeria, those are the ones without any cases, people are happy with them, top 10, and they say the worst one that are harassing their people. You don't want to be on that list. So it means that tax authority too, with all these powers that you have been given, please caution yourself. The era of doing anything you like is over. You can be reported to the tax of good. They cannot sack you. Tax of good cannot sack you. So they are not interested in your job, but they can embarrass you by writing your name in an official report, which by law they must send to the Minister of Finance. And if your brother is Minister of Finance and he covers the report, by the end of the year they will send to who? The National House of Assembly. And believe you me, those ones, the press will get a copy. So you need to be careful. So, and then we now have tax agents now who are representing people, who are taking case of people to the tax office. So your tax agent can take your case to the tax office. You don't need to go to the tax office and be chasing people up and down. So let's be careful. Now, quickly, as I round up, these are the harmonized taxes. I'm sure you have been shown this. You have this, yes? Good. I want to point us to. So we have the income tax, that is a problem. We have stamp duties taken care of. So tenement rates. So tenement rate now is good. We are going to add everything together. Tenement rate, ground use, land use charge, neighborhood, everything becomes one, which will now be shared to the state and local government to collect that as well. Now, road taxes. Road taxes is going to be single. Road taxes is going to remain. Motorization, vehicle renewal and administration, that one remains the way it is. Then we now have haulage. So what we had before, we used to have single haulage fee, interstate, all forms of those stickers and emblems. All that is going to stop. So we are going to have haulage fee charging only on the commercial vehicle. You know the current haulage, they will say it's both commercial and private, isn't it? Yes. They stop anybody, I mean? This law now says it's only a commercial vehicle operating haulage service. And it's only payable at the point of loading and offloading. You can no longer stop people on the road to collect that. But this law makes applause it and imposes a fine on anybody that stops anybody on the road. Not the person that stopped you on the road, the person that sent them. So if a local government chairman sends some boys to the road, once they say we are from Akure local government, so both chairman of Akure local government and the boys are liable to a fine or an imprisonment if they do it 2 times. Then, sir, local government chairmen don't have immunity. Only governor has immunity and the president has immunity. Local government chairmen don't have immunity. They can be taken to court, and they will be taken to court because of this. So, economic development levy, they are bunching all of this together to form one. The Eastern Revenue Service will collect it. Business services, economic development levy, environmental fees, social contribution, mining, all these taxes we used to collect, all these things are going. All of it are going. So they will list it and pick a figure, and then, so that's it. So the state government will determine how much they want to charge in their states. That's why we're asking the state to pass it. So some states will charge high, some states will charge low. It's what your citizens can pay. But it's harmonized. Now, there's another one, harmonized levy for local governments. So this is the main job of the local governments now. They have been given their own shop and store and kiosk, soccer slab, motor park, domestic animal, bicycle canoe, merriment, road closure, and off liquor license, radio, television, vehicle. All of this collapse into one. And then local government will serve it. And then once they collect that from people, that is the end of it. So instead of having all of these different people coming different, they collapse everything into one. Now, we still have user charges. But don't let's confuse what we have done before with user charges. Usual charges are marriage debt, marriage birth and registration fee. You know, if you are not getting married, why should I pay marriage fee? You cannot harmonize that. Can you harmonize that? No. I mind how long ago. Now say you are harmonizing marriage. You cannot harmonize marriage fee. So it stand alone. You call it usual charge. The same thing name of street. Is a big man that wants a street name after him, isn't it? Yes. And you want to do, you pay for it, isn't it? Yes. You can't harmonize that. So public convenience, customer background, you know, religious place of establishment, work planning, all these are user charges. So they will be payable only when the relevant service is required. So if you don't need the service, you don't pay. Then daily ticketing. So we have market levy, animal trade, slaughter, amateur, transporter tickets, other daily ticketing, all daily ticketing. So the state joint revenue committee, consisting of both the states and local government chairmen, you will determine the rates. But harmonize all of this. So your rates for Okada, for Kekemawa, for all of that, you agree jointly together, you agree on the collection mechanism, and then you agree on the sharing formula. It has to be shared between the state and the local government. So, this is just a summary of everything in terms of what we have done. That's my final thought and next step. So, we have brought in the tax base, simplified tax administration, strengthen enforcement, increase the revenue efficiency, repeal and amendments of laws, new tax framework, informal sector reform, etc., etc. So, in summary, the four new tax laws represent the comprehensive restructuring of Nigeria's architecture. The core reform pillars harmonization of procedure, implementation of compliance, implementation of tax administration, and improved enforcement transparency. So, our key intended outcome is to reduce administrative bottleneck and multiple taxation, establish a unified tax process across all jurisdictions, expand tax base via digital economic integration, and enhance tax preparation, strengthen audit capabilities through automated and electronic audit framework. Sorry, I forgot about that. Audits. The audit department has to be strengthened. And I'm so happy, you see when I showed the result of the questionnaire, the highest responders, the highest people responded are from the audit department. Because of the huge amount of returns that will come in. You know, the first stage of audit is what? Desk audit. I mean, yes. You get the return and you do a desk audit. Yes. You know, before you start going out to farmers and say, okay, this person has said this and he says they have paid this. You check the returns. This is what he says he has paid. And in some cases, maybe he has not even paid. So desk audit. So the capacity of everybody in audits and the number of people, when you're expecting this deluge of returns to come in, you know, matters a lot. So apart from ICT, your audit department needs to be strengthened to cope. And you may need to actually establish audit departments or maybe one or two people in tax sections to handle audits. Remember, every individual must file a what?
5 returns.
And you cannot say all returns to come to head office. So, immigration for Ekiti State Internal Revenue Service. Number one, you require the legal alignment and enforcement of the state revenue laws, which I just showed you. You need to pass that law. So you need to necessitate redefining compliance workflows and audit procedures. Yes, I just mentioned that. The compliance workflow and audit procedure. You need to write new SOPs, standard operating procedure. You need to write new ones. Your HR has to have a good understanding of this and write new SOPs based on the laws. So your HR has a lot of work to do. You have to change your SOP. There's no way you won't change your SOP. I mean, sure. With all these new workings. So you need to change your SOP. So demand for major upgrade to IT infrastructure, as told you that, for automation and data-driven enforcement, the enforcement has to be data-driven. And you have to be able to correspond with
legal and all of that. Then expectation to integrate with national platform, yes. We need, I was telling you about HNI, that when you put the team in your system, it will bring out everything you have done within the states. And if there is nothing, you should put your team in the system of the GTV, so to show what you have done in your state. That means you must be integrated with who? GTV. So that there's integration within your state. There's also integration at national level. I know this thing is happening all over the world. Is it strange? No. You go to embassy, they will say you came here, somebody goes went to American embassy to go and collect visa. They now ask the person, yes, did you go to Canada recently? He said, no, I didn't go to Canada. Said, but they did not give visa. I said, they did not give visa. But show here that they did not give visa. I'm like, where am I? I'm in American embassy. They're asking me about Canada. One of the person out there said, oh, I remember. And they told me to come and do some printing, but I did not go. But I was in America at that time. He said, check my passport. You will see that I was in America at that time. He now checked. He now saw that, oh, she was stamped out of Nigeria on the day of that visit. He now said, okay, they don't lie. They now give her the American visa. My point is this, everything is linked abroad. And in Nigeria, so what we are saying in Nigeria is that we can do the same. It's just IT infrastructure. The only problem we have is the quality of our infrastructure, the people to manage it, security of those infrastructure. Now, you remember IRS when we first did our first website. One guy, Femi, who was an ICT there, remember, he was part of the people that work with the consultants. And then, I don't know what happened. Him and the consultant fought. They couldn't tell me what happened between the two of them. When I say Femi was that, and something happened. Femi had to resign on his own. The following day, the system shut down. Femi introduced the virus. Till today, that system is still down. We have to go and recreate all over again. So for this time around, I now brought in a staff who designed it and not the consultant. Because I don't know, the consultant saying it was Femi, Femi saying it was the consultant. So I don't even know who to hold. So this time around, I now brought a staff, you design it. So if anything happens, I will come for it. And since then, the system has been up and running, and the staff is there. His name is Caleb. That's why I employed Caleb. So, everything that the reason that you are doing some things, you have to be careful. Consultants, and as we go into more ICT-driven environments, you need them to develop, but be insistent on the issue of I must have my source code, and then you must have a staff. You must have one staff in your IT department who is very versatile in something like this, who can hold his own. Somebody that you have to put that person, because you remember now when Caleb came in, he's all his set, all his mates were on this level. I gave him one step up to encourage him, and then occasionally, I find him something. Everybody used to think, that likes this boy, wow. It's not because I like him. I have a website that was down, it's still down.
David Joe.
So you should know that will never happen because. Just like I said, sir, we are employed just like every other person.
Yes.
So I am not a consultant.
Yes.
That will say, no. So we are here to build things. Sir, getting the integration you mentioned the other time. Yes. We have done it.
Yes, that's good.
Right now, with an endpoint, we can fetch the taxpayers registered for the state since the inception of ATB.
Absolutely. It's everything in those states. Yes.
Yes.
I know.
Caleb has been calling me, sir. So this new national tax identification number, we have been working together.
Okay, good.
Caleb,
Very good, very good. So, let me tell you something. The reason why I brought it up is that usually when you see chairman being like maybe being seen to be favorable to somebody, always calling David, come, let's go. Oh, your chairman. The thing your chairman,
I bet preach it too.
the chairman knows who will help him to do that job at that time. We only met here. If chairman did not come to Ekiti, will he meet you? Yes, nothing personal. Most chairmen want people who help them to succeed, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, is that what we want?
Yes.
Is it personal?
No.
Me, I work in how many banks? I can't count. Maybe about 5, not that many. 5, and one abroad. The fact of the matter is that I went to New York one day and I saw one guy. Tolu, how you doing? Hello. You don't remember anymore, New York, Long Island? I can't even remember him. But he remembers me. In a lot of places that we have worked, most of those people can't even remember them. Do you understand? Yes. And some people will say, oh, you are personal. It's not personal. Once you leave that job, if relationship continues on the personal level once in a while, do you understand? Yes. But that level of closeness more or less goes away. Yes. Because you expect that you will transfer to the new person. To help the person to do the job, because you're a subject matter expert. And the new person also has the right to choose between them. Yes. So, but what I'm saying is this: please, ladies and gentlemen, if you see your chairman calling David, you know how far you look dull. Anything. It's not because someone else, but someone knows that he needs David to,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, it does not mean you not be scolded. Scolded now. Only is part of the job now. If chairman does not scold you, you will be careful. Maybe he wants to remove you. So, anyway. So finally, key provision affects states, standardized administrative procedures, new enforcement mechanism, revised tax basis, transparency improvement, operational expectations. I've mentioned the issue of operational expectations. Then of course, governance structure reform. So we need to establish some form of reform steering committee. I think you have that already. Creation of specialized technical workshops, work streams, etc. Unique education strategies. I need implementation roadmap expectations. You need to design an implementation roadmap. So quickly down, let's go to the questionnaire. So the people who responded the highest were the tax operations unit. Please, a round of applause for them. Tax operations. They responded a lot. Thank you very much. So I'll just take us through what I found very interesting. Yes. Yeah, good. So these are the number of 40% of who responded, which is about 80 something from tax operations, then collections. Almost everybody said they have heard about it. Even the driver, I was impressed. Even your driver said he has heard about it. That's 4 responses. So there are various roles, junior staff, based on the numbers. So 34% junior staff, senior staff 23%, management 9%. Management are always few, so this does not mean anything. But at least we have a good cross-section of people who have some level of awareness of the tax reforms. And this is the pie charts. How long it worked. Most of the staff have been with the IRS for between 1 and 3 years. So you have a very young workforce. That means there's going to be a lot of training, a lot of mentorship that is necessary to enroll them. The beauty of this is that, the tax law is new. So nobody can say, I have more experience in taxation than you, isn't it? I don't want to
We are all going to read together. In fact, you know, my students are very sharp and I have everything in my head. Go guys have to talk. Okay. Sorry, you're wrong. Don't tell that to the girl. You go and challenge your guy in front of that player. So, to assess the level of awareness and understanding, we have the question, how would you rate your general awareness of Nigeria's current tax law? That's the current one before the reforms. And most people say they are aware, you know. Only very few people, 1% said they are not even aware of the laws. And they say, which of these laws do you know about? Of course, most people say personal income tax, because that's really what relates to our job, is personal income tax. Both the payee, direct assessment, presumptive tax, and all of that. So this is consistent with our job. Have you received training of a new tax law in the last 2 years? I was very happy with this. It shows that it is training staff. 86% said they have received training in the last 2 years on the existing tax laws. So their training is contemporary. This is good. Then how confident are you in applying existing laws to daily work? 50% say they are confident. I guess that would be most of those people. I mean, most people say no. 37 say they are very confident. 53 say they are confident, and 8.4 say they are somewhat confident. So more or less, everybody says, "I know about this law and I'm confident I'm doing the job I'm doing." So this is very impressive. Very well done, Chairman. Very well done. Very well done. So we assess the level of awareness, understanding, and preparedness of the requirements and understand regarding current tax laws and the new tax reforms. We ask this question: that before this survey, are you aware the new tax laws will become effective in January 2026? 98.9% said they are aware. Only one person said no. I don't know who that person is.
What is the driver?
That's the driver. Okay, let's assume that's the driver. So how will you rate your current awareness of 2026 tax reform? 60% said very high, 42% said high, and moderately high. So by the time you have this very high, and moderate, I mean, it shows you that a lot of people are actually aware of the tax reforms in the state, which is also a very good thing, you know. So which of the 40 tax laws have you heard about? Everybody has heard about all of them, so more or less. So, how will you rate your understanding of these new changes? I have excellent care. So this one will be head of legal and the legal team.
Actually,
You will not know what is right. You know, I'm like, it wasn't with me that we are part of the rule and read law. Maybe because I'm a bit young. You know, how many can you have in your head? Now, the question will ask me, I want to go and check the law. I mean, people have seen them. But when someone says excellence, so, Chairman, it means you have some people with powerful working for you.
Even me.
You learn them very well.
Even me, I feel good. So I don't know.
You know, that's what I'm talking about the young people.
Yeah, I understand.
The young people you have in your team,
Yes.
you know, there are some of them that they are working computers.
Definitely.
They've read all this law and it's in their head.
That's true.
And for someone to say excellent, I mean, it's short. 6 people said, bring it on. And know everything about it. That's very good. Then, of course, we have fair. So, what people said fair, that means, of course, training. And then poor, and they're very poor. So, again, the poor is the driver, I mean. Yeah. So, do you feel Ekiti State has provided sufficient communication about the new tax laws? 48% said yes, 50% said yes, 32% said no, and then 18% said not sure. So this I found a bit contradictory. Because if we all understand, so we are aware of the tax law, then how can we now say it states, unless your awareness is coming from another source? maybe social media.
I
not
can.
from the office.
I will explain it
From
later.
the school.
But it's in
Because
order. It's
this one now
correct.
gives me, the percentage now gives me, 22 plus 18, 48, 49% saying no or not sure. So maybe I didn't design the question properly, or maybe
No. I'll comment on
okay,
this.
fine. So then, have you received any formal briefing or training on the new tax laws? 61% said yes, 33% said no. So training again, I mean,
Yes, sir.
it means we have not been sat down and explained to department by department, which was what I tried to do. You can see that what I've done today is going to departments and how it affects us. Because I try not to do theory. I have too many people doing theory of this thing. We got some, I was on the webinar, and when the guy analyzed the tax law finished, I started clapping. Man, this is cool, this guy knows law. But I remember that, are you not part of people that wrote the law? You know, he presented it in such a wonderful manner. Do you understand that? Even me, I was learning from it. But the fact of the matter is that later, how useful is this? When we do to Chairman's Revenue Service and all of that. But we spoke about so many things: CGT, VAT, oil and gas. What concerns oil and gas, really? So, training for our job. How far do you feel to work to the see when they become effective? So 44, 45 and 40, that's 86% say they are ready to go. And when we had the slightly prepared, which is not bad, so that means we have almost 99% says they are ready to go. Which again brings me to the issue of how come we had those two answers prior to now. So maybe, but the chairman said will respond to that. So what type of support do you think the state AKRS have to adapt to new laws? Select all that apply. 83% selected training workshop. So with chairman, we need more training staff. Kindly oblige us. I'm speaking on behalf of the staff. And then 62% said departmental seminars, which means seminars as it affects your individual departments. Which is what I also try to do here by picking out some things and telling you the implication of them. I didn't go through all, I just pick the key things. And then the next highest is simplified guides or FAQs, which also explain what we think they're trying to do at the beginning, a glossary, showing all the tax laws, all the sections, and the one that affects states. So if you can print that or have that for all our staff, anytime any issue comes up, just go through 2 or 3 pages of paper. You will see the issue. You will now go to the law. But for you to open the documents, you will become confused. In any case, tax follows each other, isn't it? But when you have a glossary of the form, listing all the sections on 3 pages, what you just go through, just use the one to start, isn't it? Then you know which law and which section. You can now go and open it, and then next your job is there. And then that's the front FAQ. The next one is detailed policy documents. Yes. So this is what as far as I'm concerned, you can't issue policy documents from the state general service. What we do is that we issue SOPs for our staff. So detailed SOPs that not define the roles of everybody, given the new reality that we are facing. The beauty of the SOP is that once you develop one SOP for one IRS and it's acceptable, you can actually just broadcast it. So I'm developing one. If anybody is interested, let me market myself. So, which I may share with other states who are interested.
You'll be glad, sir.
But you see, it's intellectual property. Don't you know intellectual property is tax?
My IT said it's not free.
So, but when I started it, I thought, have the SOPs I need in those times, so let me just customize. And my SOP in Ondo Central Service and one of Lagos and Kaduna, because I got I got Lagos, and now added together to form Ondo. So I still had Kaduna and Lagos and Ondo. By the time I started writing, they were grossly inadequate. In fact, I thought I would just change some things. It's a lie. I have to recalibrate all over again, and I'm not finished. Because of so many things, so many of the laws have changed. Look at the strain. You know the strain now, you have to write the SOP for the strain. If not, all your staff will be doing anything they want. Because before you didn't have any issue, you must pass through legal before you can restrain. I mean, you don't even land use for 10,000, they have not paid. You know you have to take it to legal. Legal will now serve them, you now go to court, but now you just serve anything. That's why I lock it up. So you can see that the SOP has. So, and if you don't want to have issues with tax code, isn't it? You must have clear SOP for your people. Do you understand? SOP clear for your people. So they will know what to do and what not to do. Yeah. And then and also we may need to have an SOP for forgotten the term now. But essentially it's delegation of authority.
Okay.
Chairman, I want to encourage you. Have an SOP for delegation. I have to document. I can't remember. Delegation of authority. Some authorities that you want to delegate to some staff to be able to handle. Write the limits of that authority in an SOP. Because of the sheer volume of things that will come into you, you cannot do it all. Later on, you will collapse. The amount of information coming. And I'll give you a good example. Prior to now, all mails come to chairman, isn't it? Yes. And chairman must really have made it. Abi? Yes. Good. Before, chairman used to get, during the time of returns, you get maybe 500 returns, which you need to meet. Now your return is now 5,000. You want to give the chairman? No. You must delegate some of those things. Do you understand? To people and all that. So maybe the one you receive your kidney, the one you know, and they have to treat it when they receive it. But you must write that delegation of authority document properly. So some of your tax stations or directors don't start acting like chairman and saying that after all, chairman has told me to go ahead. Remember, if there's an issue, they will hold the person delegating the authority. Because it's acting on your principal agent theory. You are the principal agent. Okay, so what do you think will be the biggest challenge of staff in adapting to the new tax laws? Insufficient training. Training again. This one will take care of limited awareness, 43%. Until training will take care of it. Complexity of new rules. It's not really complex, so. Then technology limitation, this I agree. Low communication, yes. No communication can never be enough. You just keep communicating and communicating and communicating. Then time constraints, yes, is an issue, but you only have to December, isn't it? If you don't pass your law, no comments. So I've expressed my expression. In your opinion, which department needs the most capacity building for 2026? Everybody say, all departments, everybody train us all. I like it. Then tax operations, 40%. So I'm sure chairman will train everybody. So what recommendations do you have for improving staff readiness? So chairman, I think this is instructive, this is from the staff. Number one, staff training. Number two, in-house training through knowledge sharing. This is your staff talking to you. Constant training and seminar regular training and public awareness, immediate training of staff. We should start early with awareness and information. Train staff on the 2026 law, everything is training. We should do back-to-back jingle and radio programs for the awareness of our customers and the taxpayers, because most of them think less privileged and not meant to pay taxes again. There are more privileged people that earns more than 800,000 K. Well, the fact of the matter is that less privileged people are not supposed to pay tax again. In the new framework that is coming out, a lot of these people, geologists, petrol sellers, general sellers, organizers, they are not paying again. They have been named in the new law. Those self-organizers, exempt. Those self-pepper sellers, exempt. So that there is no ambiguity. Those self-pepper foods, they are exempt. You can't carry their something anymore. So they've targeted, they've named them. It's coming. We want to focus on the rich. Let the poor breathe. Let the poor breathe. So I agree with you that there are more privileged people that earn more than 800K annually. Then we should strengthen digital readiness, upgrade our tax software, ensure tax know-how, to use data tools for tax collection, especially for the new staff. So any additional comments or suggestions, training should be modularized, there should be continuous, everything is about training. And the final one that I love so much said, I sincerely appreciate the EC and entire management for giving it fit to organize a retreat of this nature at this particular time that the state needs to maintain and improve on its idea profile. It is obvious that this retreat will go a long way in enhancing SAM, in enhancing IGR, SAM, actually to gesture in this regard. So on this note, Chairman, I want to finish my presentation with these comments from the staff. I would say I align with this comment from the staff 100%. I thank you very much for organizing this retreat, and I thank you very much for inviting me to come and participate. Thank you very much.
Comment. Okay, come forward. Please sit down.
Yeah, I want to make it of the issue, so you don't mind.
Yes.
Okay, when it finishes the comments.
No. All the what I will advise, because we have just about 6 more minutes before the other presenter comes up, let us write our questions. I will only allow the ECs to comment or ask questions, but all the other questions, please write it down, because time is not right for questions.
I know I took so much time.
We needed it.
okay.
Give him the microphone quickly.
Thank you, sir. I don't really want to ask any questions because I will reserve so many of my questions to when I invite you. So that is an advance notice. I just want to, in the spirit of those who love, I'm happy that you're one of them. The essential of gifts. You know we are Nigerians. And good enough, we have said people are putting some green filing will not to put their food. You will see companies coming to give official cards now as gifts. that is supposed to be VIP.
That will come.
So you will see different types of definition because you are Nigerians. I'm just saying that. Then two, because you are also part of those who wrote the law, many of the IRS, and in fact the law is emphasizing their autonomy. And then I saw something like a Greek gift that we also try to take back some of the power by asking the chairman to report or to submit the penalties waived, the value and to whom and all to that to Commissioner of Finance. Let me say in practical terms, many Commissioner of Finance do not always agree with the chairman of IRS. They always want to drive it as part of their office.
I agree.
Now, when autonomy provides freedom for an IRS, and then you create something that will take him to his most
honorable coordinator,
arch enemy, you'll be waiting for that opportunity to hammer him. Is it? I'm just asking because you are part of it. To look into that again, and they are probably put a proviso, maybe where necessary or whether or something, because this will cause, I'm telling you, lots of issues. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just quickly respond to that. You know, the fact of the matter is that we were chairman have been doing this. In all honesty, this is something that I insisted on putting the law. That when I became chairman, they said, okay, you can sign it. What is it? It's not written, but that's how it's done. I know that power is sweet. So I started small. After a while, I was just 50% of people was not okay. This is the time value of money. But there was no legal framework behind it. Now, when I was doing it, I was not reporting to anybody. Do you understand? So I was getting it. But now, we put there so you can have a legal backing. So, even this person you say is ready, cannot challenge you in the future. What we did by saying reports, we didn't say the person can, if they don't agree, censor you or anything. It's administrative reporting. Do you understand? Oh, I've done all of this, it can be part of, I don't know, while I was chairman, I sent monthly reports to the Commissioner of Finance every month, signed personally by me, and I sent to the governor. But do you know that the commissioner gave instruction, I want to just get my report, he will just file it, which suits me well, because he will have stamped Commissioner of Finance, and I have my own copy, everything that I've submitted, and they are filed it, and I try to make the report as bulky as possible, 40 pages. You want to write the thing with order, they can last you. That's when question will start. I'm very good. But I'm going to write 40. The first month they will read it. After that, they will read it. So you can hide your make it 60. No, I'm just telling you, you know I've been there. So I know the practical way to do this thing. You can do this thing and get your work done. The most important thing is that you are covered legally with what you are doing. But in terms of Commission of Finance, I mean, I don't have any issue. But just like I should do this, then I'll do it, no problem. But I'll do it in a way that, but the Commission of Finance, you have brought the report again. What are you, just tell me how much you made. This is how much I made. Okay, just go and find it. Why is your report always this bulky? It's full of pictures. I said all the events that we did in the month. I mean, send report, this, that, it. I will give you a report now. So I'm just, there are practical ways to circumvent these things. Everything cannot be legislated. But the key thing is that when you are doing that legislation, do it in such a way that the person you want to protect the person. and that's the chairman, and that's our. The relationship with your commissioner of finance is personal. I won't walk around that. Even one that does not want to see me. Even one that doesn't want to see me. I don't need to send anything. I'll just tell my staff man, take my report. They will take it there. They will stamp it. Abi? I was not a big man, my employment copy. Have I not met my occasion? That's it. And if you ask any question, you ask me, isn't it? But I know they won't have. I don't want to teach Baba things, so maybe want to get
Sorry if I'm still taking you back to the same issue. Yes. The law clearly mentions the Commissioner of Finance in very clear terms. However, in a place like Kaduna, we don't report to Commissioner of Finance. He has no business in what we do. We report to the governor directly. And rendering such a return to the Commissioner of Finance where he does not have supervisory powers over us will just create a problem that did not need to exist in the first place for us as IRS. I remember part of the struggles we had after Dr. Zaid left was triggered by people from finance. So, yes. So for me, I still think, just like my elder brother has said, there is a need to look at that section, even if it is to put it hardly or something, right? So that limits the direct involvement of the Commissioner of Finance and open it up, like in our case now, we don't have to report to the Commissioner of Finance because we do regular reports to several agencies in the state, planning, fiscal responsibility, and finance, but not with respect to these matters that are here, because these are quite sensitive as well. So, can I just raise the second issue that I want to, because I think you have dealt with this, but maybe we should really look at it again. It's the issue of the additional assessment as it regards the example we have somebody who is a senator. I don't know if that sort of has an exception to the residency rule, right? Because if somebody is out of it, despite the fact that he's from it, he will naturally avoid you when it comes to the taxes issue. He will tell you that my TCC is from Abuja, and I'm a resident in Abuja, and I paid my taxes in Abuja. You don't have the jurisdiction to tax me, because it excites me if it is something that we can do. We have plenty of Kaduna Abuja people, because of proximity, but they will tell you that, in fact, one particularly wrote to us that he has relocated to Ghana. But people still see him around. But he has a formal solution to the study that he now lives in Accra. And I will tell you for free, he's probably on the list of Nigerians with some of the largest stockholding in NTN. Yes, individuals, shares of NTN. He's one of the top 3 in the country. But he wrote to us that I live in Ghana, so please don't talk about that.
Okay, all right. Let me, I don't know whether head of legal, I'm sure we talk about non-resident taxes. The section of non-resident tax says if you live abroad, but you have an economic interest in Nigeria, you are liable to this. Unless that man only has his family house in Kaduna, he does not have any business. If he does not have any business, he will get everything. If he says, look, I'm not resident in Kaduna, even though I have a family house here, but once he has an economic interest or economic asset in Kaduna, based on that economic asset, you can levy him the tax on that economic asset. So that's the distinction. So, and then as to the first one, this issue of Commission of Finance, if you read that section very well, you can note it for others. They put us with the chairman of NRS, that the chairman of NRS should sign and report to minister. and the chairman of FIRS should sign and report to commissioner. If we start suddenly saying, and chairman of FIRS saying it's okay. So if chairman of NRS, former FIRS, say it's okay, and state chairman and say they are not okay, what does that say?
It's confusion.
And you know we don't have power. I hope you know. We know chairman of FIRS has power, was reports to the president. They just adopted that, just like us, we report to governor, just adopted that to the minister. But he accepted it. So once he has accepted it, it will be very difficult for any state chairman to say they should. I can pass on the comments. Do you understand? It's not a problem, I can pass it on. But then they will start asking, you didn't want to put this thing. I don't know how to put it. I want to write it back in. Now the people you have put it for, they are saying it has former, this and that. But like I said, I was the one that insisted that I was doing this when I was there. But there was no legal backing. So they put legal backing with accountability to someone. And they now repeated it at federal level. So once you start challenging it, you know, it's not as if there's more to it. I mean, let's try, let's start. You have said, when we went to Her Majesty Royal Revenue Service, IRS, that's the IRS in England, they told us that it took them 5 years to complete the implementation of their harmonization with all the gadgets that they have. The US told us, that it took them 3 years. And I'm like, US, you have all these gadgets, all this Elon Musk, all this thing. They said it took 3 years. Because they have 50 states, and they have to harmonize the operations of all the 50 states. So that when you do your personal income tax and corporate, everything reflects in your state and all of that. IRS gets data. Then of course, they use tax agents. So the tax agent filing for you, the number, or the fact for yourself, all those things. It took them 3 years. UK was 5 years. Nigeria, we don't have that infrastructure. So what is all that we are saying? I don't know how long it take us. But they've told us, they prepared us. We're not sharing this outside though. That's why I don't know why I'm telling you. As you have just kept quiet. Oh, next year we're going to do it. We know. Because the people who are more sophisticated than us, it took them a long time for the ICT integration, the fiscalization, the all of that. You know, but the advantage is that Nigeria, believe it or not, Nigeria had more GSM penetration than US in the first few years outside GSM. Yes. We had more GSM subscribers in Nigeria than the United States of America. Until now, when they now phase out all their own thing. So who says you can't do it faster than them? You can, so let's go for it. Thank you.
I just want to thank my brother, for bringing this program to Akure. For inviting my predecessor in office, and for preparing on me to be in attendance. I was actually at the last stand up in Akure to Odo when I looked at it. And somebody was there with me and said, please would advise me to go for this retreat or to go for the convocation. The person said, no, go for the convocation. So I have to pay penalty for taking that decision. But I thank God that I'm here today. And I thank my predecessor, Dr. Dulu Adegbie, for coming up. And this is a practical, this is a workshop. It's not a retreat. It's a workshop. Clearly, it's a workshop, and I really appreciate. I don't have any questions to ask, sorry. All I can say that he has given up himself, so he will not go to Akure until I release him to God's he knows that I have the power to be there. Yes.
But don't use it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this arrangement, this program. It's so educative. It's like I said, very, very practical. Without taking notes, I have my head is full of what to do now. I know what to do now. Thank God I have my director of PIT here. So we know what to do when we get the office on Monday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, welcome. Now, thank you very much. Like I said when I started, everywhere I go to do any kind of presentation, because I've been there, I should talk to people about what they can use on Monday. It's not good to the theory. So, and that's why people keep calling me. Anywhere I go, it's about what we use on Monday. Not the theory of because our job, tax collection, you know, it's either you are collected or you are not.
Yes, simple.
Can you argue with governor that no, governor actually, you see, this figure is supposed to have been more than this. Is it supposed to, or what it is? Is governor going to spend supposed to? No, now, it's what you bring that governor will spend, isn't it? Yes. So everything we do is actual. There's nothing like supposed to. So quickly, if rent notes are to be used to net off taxes, which of the taxes? Usually is personal income tax. Your utility tax is not a final tax. You know, it's payment of tax in advance. Yes. So use the rent of the personal income tax. How will organizations handle rent relief evidence on behalf of their employees? Good question. So employees are supposed to, if you want to enjoy the rent relief, organizations are not bound to give that relief automatically. They will not grant that relief unless you go to them and say, this is my rent, this is my landlord, this is tax ID and everything, give to them, then they will not give you that relief in calculating your tax. And they now start send that evidence to the tax authority. But if you don't give them the evidence, they won't be chasing you now. They will just put it on the system and just bam. That's it. Can you please give the question on the tax rate and tax band? Is this pay rate or tax rates? It's pay rates. It's pay rates. The same pay that we have been using before, the same calculation. It's just that now, what has been causing a bit of confusion is that when they tie CGT to your tax rate, but you see, tax rate for companies has not changed at tax percent, isn't it? Yes. It still remains 30%. The issue now is this. We have said companies that don't turn around below 100 million are exempted, isn't it? Yes. So if I'm a company that does turn around below 100 million and I sell a property, anyway, they have put your assets at 250 million, isn't it? So you cannot say you are below 100 million and you have assets above 250. That would be very suspicious, isn't it? So really, it's not that, it's just an academic argument. So your pay rate is the band. I mean, that's what that one addresses. As not of the committee, can you please shed light on this issue of 800 thresholds? It's for pay alone.
Let's keep that.
Do you understand? It's paying because you can calculate it. For direct assessment, the honest truth is this. You know, direct assessment is based on best of judgment. But you know, every best of judgment must be anchored on something, isn't it? So we anchor the best of judgment on the existing pay rates. When you look at someone and look at his total income, and like my chairman would say, he said you know a poor person. Do you understand? You know, somebody's shop or something. Everything that's there is no more than 5,000, 6,000. Do you understand? And you are now asking the person. You go to a mama put. Fine, people are coming. But the honest truth is this: what is the margin they are making on that, given the inflation rates and resistance of people to food that is costly? And then that mama food has competitors who you not say it must pay certain amounts. You know, when they are poor, they are poor. So we should not concern ourselves with it. It's high net worth. You know, the people who have money. That's what we are worried about. So you can use the pay rate as a basis for your BOJ for direct assessment. to help. Okay, guys. So gift, can it be used by tax evaders to their benefit? Yes, there's nothing that cannot be used by tax evaders. It's for us to be, I mean, so like my chairman said, by the time a company starts saying all the staff cars for management, they are gifts. We know they are not.
You know that.
Because gifts are supposed to be personal in nature. It is not because of an official relationship. It's personal gifts. You get? That's why I use the example of mother at home and all of that. You know, those are personal gifts. You buy a car for your wife. So if my chairman now, buys a house for his wife in Banana Island, it's gift. No. He buys for himself. He pay tax.
So you will say it's for my wife.
Well, what we recognize is that when you want to find annual returns, you file the returns as I've acquired a house as a gift from my husband. They will now say, oh, what is love, man? They will now come and Mr. Bayo, because when you get the money come and pay tax on that money. Please remember one thing in all of this. That's one of my final thoughts. Please, as taxmen, we are not interested in your source of income. Whether it's stolen money, it's from kidnapping, it's from whatever. All we're interested is that once we know that this money belongs to you, pay us our tax. There is no ethics in our job. We are not pastors. What concerns me? God has blessed him. Yes. He has given testimony in church. Just pay our tax. And they will leave you alone. It's not enough say you don't want to pay on tax. That's why it's good now. But once he pays us as you, we are not, please, taxmen. You are not responsible for catching thief. Yes. That's not your job. Your job is to collect money from hey. Because some people confuse it, they get all ethical and now why they get money say what concerns you where you go from. Is that the professional in our job? Okay, presumptive one of the tax one threshold. Well, dealt with that job, but there's a presumptive tax framework that is coming actually. Tax exemption, is it for competency or for individuals? It's for competency. You must have been registered for you to accept that, for you to enjoy that 100 million threshold. That band. It's for competency. The local government allow and take trade permits from business that have paid business premises. This has been legislated. That issue has been legislated. Local government, from time there was this no issue. Internet revenue service is supposed to take business premises. Local government is supposed to collect shop and kiosk rates. We know a shop, we know a business now. You understand? Yeah. But now we have added two together. So I think from the law, you will see when they pass it. So it's completely different. Well, sorry, we have added the shop and kiosk rate with all the other rates collectible by the local government. So they just collect one. The same thing for the state. We have added business premises to all. Sorry, something I forgot to say, please. Do you have construction tax department?
Yeah, we know that one is already.
You know that one is gone.
We have already removed.
Transfer them to Saturday.
We have moved them out.
So there's no construction tax again. On the only permit, gone. Road amendment tax. remain because it's the constitution for local government. But it has been added. Yes, together. I showed it. No, those amendments are. I think that's the service charge now. That's the service charge now. It's only
Users charge.
users charge, yes. On the only permit, the local government have any role to play. Havenage, yes, now. You can, I said it, the State Joint Revenue Committee, consisting of the state and local government, will decide the rates. When you decide the rates, you can now decide the collection mechanism. The only thing is that no cash collection, and nobody can stay on the road. And you can only collect now at the point of loading and offloading. It is illegal for anybody to stand on the road. Both the person standing on the road and the person who sent you to stand on the road are liable to fines. And by the time you do the second or third time, it's imprisonment without option of fine. You know, all of these things, ladies and gentlemen, all of these things are going to be tested. That is why the tax open has a lot of work to do. Because the person you stop on the road and you are harassing him, he will run to the tax open. By the time the tax open is seeing all of this coming up, and then they start writing the report of that local government. Abi, that chairman since our guy said 2 times revenue service, we got chairman of local governments every day sending boys to the road for that money. They will put your name in paper. You know that chairman will not win election. You have embarrassed the governor, you have embarrassed the state, isn't it? So all of these things, by this time next year, a lot of things will have been tested. People will have seen the results. It is when we see the results, change of behavior will come in 2027. I don't really expect too much change of behavior. People will still say, you don't know bad, they are joking. Let's do it. You know, by Nigerians, yes. We will try it. You know now, we will try it. How many they won't catch? You go catch them. Prison go full. That's what people will say. Then after a while, what happens? When they start seeing that, they take example of 1 or 2 or 3 people. What happens? The people start to change behavior. So don't expect changes. So compliance, payment compliance and very critical challenge to property tax service. Then you explain how do you enforce compliance without violating people's fundamental rights in their residential property. Well, the thing about residential property is that now that it has been added, before what we are doing in those states is we take everybody to court. So once you take to court, you go and place the court notice on your door. Because even then and now, the only asset you cannot touch without a court order is immovable assets, which is property. However, if I know with this new law, if you are owing land use, and I'll send you demand notice and you are not answering. If I come to your house and I see a car and I know belongs to you, I can take the car. That's a movable asset, isn't it? The law says I cannot take an immovable asset. I can take your car. I can take your motorcycle. The law says, and that's why I quoted it for you, any asset that is movable to defray the cost of the tax and the cost of enforcement, except an immovable asset. That's the only thing you cannot take. So I can take anything. Before I can't do that. But the law did not say, oh, you cannot take movable, you cannot take a expensive car. Oh, you cannot. Do you know that? Oh, we are see at the party. I can hold your boat. I hope you know that. I want to steal.
Okay.
But the Lord said, move away. Or ignore that. So how is the independence of the tax well, that one has been resolved. Are there any taxpayer complaints that are excluded from the of tax code? No, there's none. There's no complaint. So, see, it does not mean tax code will be ruled in favor of taxpayer. No, it does not. It just says give the taxpayer a fair hearing. Because of this amount of power that we are given the chairman. So you can't give so much power and you don't give the other person to some form of fair hearing. Remember, we took away the legal rights of the taxpayer, so we had a court before we can take any decision. Yes. Including fine. Yes. Now we can say you can fine them, you don't need to go to court. You can carry any assets, you don't need to go to court. We should give them some form of respite too now, isn't it? Yes. So it's always fine. So finally, please, sir, I need to have clarification on the individuals that are exempt from withholding tax on rent. All individual is individual. How is it? Individual enterprises, ventures, yeah, ones are not become young. Like that again, is there anything in the new tax law about PAMA accreditation and registration? Good question. So, in the new tax law, what we expect to happen is that every state, you will still have to register the PAMA. GRB can give them the number for filing. You know, if I'm a tax agent if I'm the tax consultant of Zenith, you know, Zenith has branches in every state. And if I want to find the returns for Zenith bank staff in all the states, you don't expect me to go and register in all the states, because I don't do that now. I didn't do it. No. But if I have my tax and registration number from JTB, all I need to do is put it on each of the states and it goes into the system. I mean, did you know that some child accountants that are not doing summer work? I hope you know. Yeah. Yes. So if I'm not doing summer work, I don't have to come to a state to register. But if I want to do summer work, I'll work for you as a state, and they still need to register in your state. However, JTB is trying to come up with something that will say that, look, if you have registered them to file returns, let them be able to do the summer work also. Do you understand? And all of that. But that one will be resolved at JTB level. If you accept that, fine. If you don't accept, fine. You cannot, nobody can force the chairman to accept it. The one that the chairman must accept is that we register everybody to do filing, so that one person can file for a company, MTN, that has staff in 6 states of the federation, without having to go and register in each of those states, which they are not doing now. So it shouldn't make the situation worse. So we need you, sir, to talk about tangible or there's no issue with telling on CBT. Everything has been clearly defined. If by form, the people that affect states, let's talk about states. Everything in terms of states, based on volume and all of that, is exempt. Isn't it? Yes. It's exempt. So why are we worried as a state? The people who are worried are companies. And see, even the companies that are worried, let me give you a statistic. This is my final. Let me just give you statistics. I'm sure you are aware, in the last couple of weeks, a lot of talk has been going on social media, on everywhere, that withholding tax, that some market even collapsed, because of the issue of withholding tax and all of that. I want to read this to you. So, that we really noted that CGT currently contributes less than 1% of total revenue to Federal Inland Revenue Service in the last 10 years. Listen to this. Between 2014 and 2024, company income tax generated 26 trillion. Company income tax, 26 trillion. VAT, 22 trillion. CGT, in 10 years, 276 billion.
Is that what you shout about? You know, materiality concepts. We talk in Nigeria without data. Unfortunately, we work in a community, everything is based on data. That's why everything I've showed you here, you can see it's based on data. Move on. So when you are shouting CGT, something has already contributed 276 billion in 10 years. And compared to company income tax, 26 trillion. VAT, 22 trillion. You are now shouting, eating up everywhere. Oh, they are going to call you because of 276 billion in 10 years. You know, can even give that them. It's just not material enough for the amount of controversy that has generated. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. May I have our guest to come out and take a picture with that today? Yes. And of course, I believe that some of you also, you are going to invite him to your state. Please, when you are inviting him to your state, don't forget me. Don't forget me.
Because of reflection.
Wow. It's been an awesome time, and I know that we have learned a lot. Of course, the learning continues. This is just one of it. You know, when in one of the earlier sections, my sister was asking questions about data from Mrs. Kolada Isi, and I said there's going to be another session that's going to be on data. But we have some time over on, which is good. There's no way I could have stopped. It's not every time that you see opportunity or see Oga to do like this. So we have made.
No, Oga to do.
We are still Oga on this in this matter in Abalaba and Baba. And also we've done our best to get. But I know some of you may still have some questions that we can always forward and get responses to. I am tempted because when people have sat for this long, we want them to stretch body a bit. But I understand the other person that is to present has been waiting, but he's not joining. And so when he doesn't join, he's not ready. That's the way that he's ready. And then tell him to join, and then we quickly take him and then go for lunch because we are running. Or maybe you just stand up and stretch your body a bit.